Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us for the training for Earshot Distro. This will be the broadcasters training focusing on the station side of things. My name is Elisa. I'm the marketing and outreach coordinator for the NCRA. Here with me with the session today is Barry Brook. He's the executive director of the NCRA. You probably have seen him multiple times now. Um, so in case you don't know, Earshot Distro is a music distribution service that we provide to artists, in which you guys have access to for free, and where you can navigate and find music for you to place at your station. And now, recently, we have included the show syndication, in which it has replaced the community exchange page, where you will be able to upload and download programming. So if you're looking to just only learn how to upload, we will cover that. But if you're looking to also download music and download shows, we will also be covering that today. Um, yeah, thank you so much for joining us, and I'll let Barry talk a little more. Go ahead.
Thanks so much. So as noted, we're the National Campus Community Radio Association. There's 126 members of ours. You're either associated with one of the stations through a volunteer program or staff, something of that nature, or you produce your own content and you're using our system to distribute. So the system itself started about 6-7 years ago in development, has gone live, and is now sitting at over 28,000 songs. If you were to go to our website earshot-distro.ca, you'll see a page here. I'm just sharing my screen, and it provides you with our sort of a landing page, information about all the different things that are going on at Earshot Distro, FAQ, what radio stations are all on it, and so on as well. Plus different types of training supports and so on that you can get to connect and everything. But this outlines essentially the sort of contact points and everything. I don't know if you can hear, my dog is barking nice and loud in the background, so throwing me off, but that's live radio for you, isn't it? If you go to the website here, if you haven't signed up already, you need to sign up through your radio station or through the NCRA. You click the sign up option, and then you'll find a link here for signing up. You'll highlight this one here that says NCRA, ARC, or ARCQ members or independent programmers. Eloisa will develop a platform for you and then give you your login code within a couple of days. Like I said, again, if you can't, if you already signed up through your station, that's fantastic. There's ways to monitor and manage that as well. When you click the login button, it'll take you to secure login. You'll put your information in, and up will come your once you've logged in, this will be your landing page. I'm going to first start by showing you a little bit around the system itself so you can access information. You'll notice at the top there's a bar with a whole bunch of different icons on it. The one with the headphone is about your account, so it'll be information about your account. If you have access as a radio station to add people, there's an opportunity to add them into the system as well. If you are added by a radio station, you won't likely have this administration feature. You can also switch between English and French. We are fully bilingual in the site, which is great as well. The help button will take you to a support page and documentation. So along with this recording, you're also going to see a handbook and a handful of other documents that will help you if you run along the way into trouble. There's a messaging system. I'll circle back to this a little bit later, but in short, it allows you to send information to artists or record labels if you want to initiate contact. At this point, they cannot contact you unless you've provided that information through our outreach button. It's also available on the messaging page. So if you wanted to, you could fill out a little form here, and this gets released to the industry so that they can search your information and you can tell people what you're looking for, and they can connect to you as well with it. So that's quite helpful. Once again, when you're on the dashboard here, there's a couple other folders and programs. PSAs will jump into that as well. The referrals button simply allows you as a radio station to generate a referral code and share that out. And if you do, each referral code that is accepted by an artist who signs up, they get 25% off their first 10 uploads, and you get 25% off of a referral bonus back. And Eloisa coordinates that on sort of a case-by-case basis twice a year. So it's a way, if you have some artists or friends that you want to use the system, you can get them a discount and they can generate some revenue for you as well. That's the non-search, non-upload functions of the system. There are also an opportunity for you to save content by using a review later button. I'll show you that when you do a search. There's an option for you to see the information about your programs if you've uploaded programs. We'll talk about that later. And we are also implementing a public service announcement system. It's not rolled out, but you'll be able to use that at another time. If you want to save searches, you have the ability to do so that if you're only looking for a specific genre or style or location or whatnot, you can simply click this button and it will do a brand new search and capture everything that you're looking for. There's also an option to make folders. So if you want to download songs and put them into folders for scheduling and coordinating, I know a lot of people, for example, do themed shows. And this is a great way that if you're searching through new content and one theme is about rain and another theme is about the holiday season, you can simply capture those songs, drop them into those folders, and down the road, you can go back and look through and download the content. So it's all easy to search out. So that's the theme, the folders opportunity for you as well. And you can see that on your dashboard, plus this folders button on the top. When you're on the dashboard, if you're looking to do a quick search, you can go ahead and do a quick search by simply typing in an item, and it will search for that artist or song or title or whatever sort of search functionality you're looking at. You can simply hit the search button, or you can hit the search library button, and it will take you directly to our overall database of things. Lisa, I'll show you how the folder thing works in just a second when we do the search. So if I was to go under just simply the search function without typing anything in, this is what it pulls up, and it pulls up every single song that is released based on chronological order, from the newest song to the oldest. So we can see that Adriel Smiley released the Cool Table album. It's a radio show, actually, and Adriel has uploaded four versions of it, and you can actually see the different episodes as they go along here. This is how the process works automatically. You can also then see, for example, King's Crown Band released a single. It's a rap song. You can download it directly, and it is identified as Canadian content. And if you want to, I can go in and see a little bit more about this. So this is how everything is displayed automatically when you access the search function. Now, if you're looking for something specific, this is where your advanced search functionality comes into play on the left-hand side. If you want to search for an artist or composer, you can simply put that in. If you're looking for a label or a publisher, you can put that in as well. You can restrict your searches to any types of date. You can restrict to how long the songs are. Some songs have beats per minute. You can restrict that. It's not mandatory and required. Under genre here, right now you have songs, shows, and PSAs. If I want to search only songs, I can click select all songs, and now it's going to not search for any of the shows because the shows are not selected, but the songs are. And let's say I'm looking for only blues songs, I can select the word blues. Now, if I go to the bottom of my search functionality, I can hit search, and you'll see on the right-hand side, it'll now display all songs that have the genre of blues listed in them. And you can see that there's approximately 500 songs that are blues-based songs. And then again, you can go into an individual song. You can play it and preview it right here if you'd like to have a listen. If you want more information, if you click on the link that's beside the image, it'll take you to your releases page. In this case, Sam's song is only a single, so it has information about the release on it, including the genre, subgenre, any hypergenres, what city and location they're in, when it was released, things like publisher, distributor, etc., if it's Canadian content or not. So this would be the release, and then individual songs you're available to listen to by, again, hitting play, or I can dive deeper and see more information about that original song. So I've done the drop down. This will look very similar to what you just saw from the release because it's copied over, but the artist has the ability to update individual songs by song. So if it was a different genre, if it had other different characteristics, you could identify them as well. And then there's an opportunity to learn more about the artist, contact their distributor if there's lyrics, and you can also write a comment or a review, which the artist will be able to see and other users of the system will be able to access. The other thing that I'll point out here is if you want to get a hold of the song, you simply click the download button and select what format you're looking for it, and it will download directly to your computer. If you wish to add it to your review later, you can see that there's this little plus with a circle that says review later. If I click that, it now goes to a minus. And if I was to go back to our dashboard, it would show up on the dashboard. If I want to add it to a folder, I can click folder. Let's make this a new folder called Dangerous Songs. And now this is in a folder called Dangerous Songs. And if I went back to my desktop dashboard, I can now see there's the review later option, and there's my folder with dangerous songs and the songs listed in my folder of dangerous songs. Going back to the search functionality, as I said, the other things that you can find with the advanced search filters are, if you want to, I can search for only shows and not programming and not music, so that will reduce what you find on the side. You can search by songs that you have or haven't listened to, their location, if there's a rating, instrumental or clean context, meaning radio friendly. Some of the content that's on here does have explicit language, and we've asked people to identify that. You have the ability to search for unique artist characteristics, which is a great search functionality if you're trying to find specific information related to somebody else. So someone, say FemCon, for example, identifies as songs that are made by or with an individual or a group of women. When the artist uploads the content, they have the ability to self-identify for this area. So as I had showed you earlier, if I went to songs and did blues, I also have the ability to hit FemCon. And if I was to search, it would give me my almost 500 songs of blues minus anything that is not identified as women created programming. These are all stackable on top of each other. So if you want to search blues and jazz, you can select blues and jazz and change the special characteristics and features. Same thing applies for licenses. So if you're creating content for advertisements or you want to, put it into a compilation, you can do so. We also allow for podcast friendly approval for content. So if you do a music show or a regular show that is podcasted, this should allow you to use that content on that show. Now, it's not a foolproof process because a lot of podcasting host solutions, such as Spotify, will actually look through your podcast, find any songs, and they may pull your podcast down because of illegal music, even if they've given you explicit permission, because this isn't directly connected to anything else. If you do have questions around copyright, happy to try to do my best to answer them as well. If you want to, you can also look up tags. So if you're looking for a very specific vibe or feel or whatnot, you'll find them on here. And if you want to, you can save this search for it to be available at a later date. So once again, I hit the search. Now we're looking at blues with our women only based. We're down to 57. And that's about on average of what we're seeing with people using, for example, 1 out of every 4 songs is typically podcast friendly. And then, the identifiers for the different genres are usually around that 10 to 15%. So just a way to be able to take a deeper search into finding the content that you're looking for, especially when we're talking about 27,000 songs now in the system. Before I move on to the second sort of feature of the system, which is uploading programming, does anybody have questions around the search functionality of how they find music on our system? If you do, feel free to use the raise hand function or drop something in the chat, and we'll do our best to be able to answer those questions as well. So once again, I'll continue on. You found content, which is great. The other option that we have in our system is for radio stations and programmers to upload shows. We don't allow you to upload music. You're going to have to use a music account. And if you're associated with a radio station, let us know. We'll give you a free account and there won't be a charge for you to do it. But for distribution and syndication of programming, you have the ability to do that on the system here. The way to do that is under the programs options. And what you essentially have to do is you have to first make a host, because all the shows need a host. Then you make a program, because that's what everything is being called. And then under each program, you have different levels of shows. You can do this by clicking the buttons and go directly to it. If you happen to be on your dashboard, the way to be able to see what you've made or uploaded in the past is actually available on the dashboard as well under this programs button. So for example, if I want to, I can upload another show here. I can also see that, for example, Earshot Daily is one of our radio shows that is in our system. They have 185 shows uploaded into the system, and there's been 600 interactions. If you want to see what your interactions are, you can click and it will show you what the station is, if the song was downloaded, what the show name was, and the timestamp for everything of this nature. So when you upload content in the system, you can then see which radio stations at what time have downloaded it or listened to it or whatnot. So it's a great way to be able to see that type of content. Earshot Daily, as I said, was a syndicated show, and you can see that a whole bunch of these CKUW plays 4 episodes a week. CHSR plays 5 episodes a week, etc. And it's a great little way for us to be able to distribute content for the radio stations to pick up. As I said, in order to do an upload, you can either select the programs option here and go under shows, or you can upload a show. This will take you through a 3-step process. The first is creating a host. I'm not going to do it right now because it'll add another host into my system and I don't need to do it. But essentially, when you're putting a host in, this is the information about yourself: who you are, where you're from, what are the basic information that you want to share, as well as any other type of information. My name's Barry Rook, so I'm going to select me as a host already. I'm going to go to step 2. Step 2 is the program that you're uploading. So in this case, I have 2 different programs that we've created. If you wish to create your own, you can go ahead and hit create your own. And your create your own program is going to look like this. You're going to select the title of the program, your artist, any upload information. You're going to select a genre, city, when it becomes released, and information on the program as a whole, not an individual show. I'm just going to go back for a moment, and rather than creating a program, I'm going to select a program that I've already done. This is Conversations with the NCRA. And then when I go to step 3, it's going to ask me to upload a show. In this case, we're looking at shows in an MP3 or a WAV format, where we prefer MP3 for radio shows at 320 kilobits per second, because it's not as big, and the radio stations like high quality MP3s for the shows that they're playing. When it's music, we ask the musicians to upload WAV files. And when you are a radio station, you get the ability to select what format you want to download, WAV or MP3. I would simply click the link, drop in whatever program that I'm looking to upload, and it will upload the process. I'm going to skip doing this full upload right now because we don't need to add it in, but it will upload your song into a database. And then what you'll end up seeing is once you finish your upload, it's going to take you to a list of all the songs that are searchable and any songs or shows that are incomplete. And you're simply going to, if it's incomplete, follow the steps that are on the screen to make sure that you've got all the right information in. If it pops up and it shows it's automatically available and fully searchable, well, then it's good and on the system. So here's an example. Here's an interview I did with Don Schaefer a little while ago, and the information probably looks pretty similar to what you saw with the radio station, right? So how to be able to download the song, what genres, etc. There's some log file information, links to more about myself and all of that kind of thing. And I do have the ability, if I want to, again, to rate, review, add, etc. to a later process. And you can preview by hitting the play function. Once again, download will allow you to choose WAV, MP3. And if you want to, there's options to say copy a track listing if that was uploaded as well. So that is the program side of things. PSA mirrors that. PSA is a public service announcement. Very simple. If you have something that you want to share with other radio stations, you can do that. We haven't fully launched that program yet, but we're in the process of doing it. But it's a great way to be able to find content or share content that you're just trying to get the information and word out about. That essentially takes me to the end of the search functionality and the upload functionality. Happy to answer any questions people have. As noted, the help will take you directly to a website page that gives more information, including a copy of this and other resources, a handbook to sort of figure everything else out. If you can support, and also support at earshot-distro.ca goes directly to Eloisa and myself to make sure if you have any concerns or questions, you can access that. Does anybody have any additional questions? I do see one in the second side that says, where does your 27,000 songs come from? The answer is artists will have their own type of account in which they log in. And I showed you the upload process for the radio show syndication. Their upload process is almost the same, but it's for individual songs or albums or releases, etc. And even in the last couple minutes, here's another one from King's Crown that just got uploaded as well. So that's that total number in the top right-hand corner. We're getting about 150 to 200 new songs every week, which is great. The number is growing quite a bit. Jeff had a question here. We want to have the recommendation amount type of genres that we broadcast. How about gospel recommendation? Should that be spiritual? So we do have the opportunity to upload the different types of genres and processes. So if I click on show, I can see here's a list of all the different types of shows. And I can even go deeper if there are other ones. I would assume gospel would probably fall under the spiritual and religious radio show category. So when you are uploading a radio show to be syndicated, you'd simply identify that as the genre or subgenre so that when people are searching for it, they can find it. If I'm doing a search right now, I'll take a quick look to see if there's anything that shows up. We have currently no programming or shows that are listed under the gospel or spiritual side of things, but in total, we have an accessible number of shows of, let's see here, 1,800 different episodes of different types of shows, and they're all broken down into different ways. I'll give you a good example. Here's modern jazz. So if I click modern jazz, it'll take me to the page here, and I can see all the different shows with the different lengths and information. And if I want to, I can access those, which is great, and more basic information about the artist and all of that. You will note as well that there is a date beside the name of the release. That is to give you a sense of when if it's a show, it's the first time that show was uploaded into our system. If it's a song, it's when that song was uploaded into the system. So we can see, for example, that Ivan Emke's show here, Fit to Eat, started to do uploads last June, and now has 42 episodes. So you can get a quick sense of how much content is available on the system as well. You can also add those sort of click to when you're inside the page, you can click to add to a favorite. That way, when a new show uploads, it'll be available on your dashboard right away, so you don't have to kind of go through the search functionality. You'll see, for example, here's the date beside the band or the artist, and that's today. So you know that that song is to be released to the public today. The one below here by Terminal Dogma, you'll see that has a release in the future. So if I was to click this button here, it shows when it's available on the system, which is today, and when it's available for the public. So this artist has decided that the song is going to be available to play on the radio for a week and a half or 2 weeks before the public can access it. You've just got yourself an exclusive song. And this gives you information for you to be able to, share and announce. And that's why we recommend, while you're going through the processes, you take a bit of time to look at the information that's portrayed or shared with the documentation here. There you can learn a little bit more about Terminal Dogma. And if you really wanted to, you could contact the distributor or request an interview, etc. as well. So I think that kind of covers some more of those questions. So Marco says, I'm not entirely clear on the why behind uploading shows. I do a radio show in a small market. It's not currently syndicated. Why should I upload shows? The opportunity for you to have access to upload shows is the idea if you want to take your show sort of outside of your local market and syndicate that show. It's completely a decision on you as an individual if you want to try to expand. And it also depends on the type of programming content that you're really making. If you're making something that's hyper local to your community, is there a value of other radio stations accessing it? That's something that you're going to have to make a decision on yourself. However, a lot of the times we find that radio stations are specifically looking for content that are show based that is not available in their broadcasting sort of range or realm. Um, these are often genre specific or topic specific. And many stations will look for programs that they don't have on their air to fill gaps and spaces for it, or they will use Earshot Distro to help fill in when somebody is away. So we have a couple of really good shows. There's one called Celtic in a Twist, which is for East Coast Celtic music. If you are looking for that type of programming to put on your station, great show to be able to pick up. If you happen to have somebody that makes a similar type of show and is away for a week or 2 weeks, you could always download that show, put it on in place, and then you still got content. So that's one of the reasons why the programming is uploaded. Most of the content in here from a lot of the radio stations is quite detailed. And we do ask that if you are uploading, you're trying to make it as play friendly as possible, meaning you're not necessarily referencing your home station all the time, and you're not necessarily using, like you've taken out advertisements or station IDs from a recording that's being syndicated. It would confuse people if there was content on a show that says you're now listening to radio station in Toronto when you're actually listening to a station in Vancouver. So that's why we ask that if you are going through the syndication process, you try to make it set up that way so it's easy to oversee. Eloisa, did we have any other comments or questions? I'm just going to stop my share right now in case there's anything else there.
Yeah, someone said, can I use PSA to let others know about a new show on the system? Yes, you can. Like Barry mentioned, we don't have the PSA implementation done yet, like ready to go on the system, but it will be the same as the program. But you can definitely share the PSA with other stations and let them know about your show that you're going to be uploading to Earshot for them to pick up.
PSAs are usually used for sharing information for not-for-profits and other sort of community groups, as opposed to specifically for promotion of a show, though. So, for example, we have a PSA that's gone out on our network around Tree Canada. And this system will be used for that upload. That way, if you're a radio station or a show and you want to, you can search the PSA database to be able to put content into your shows or on your station as well, just so it's easy to find and all of that kind of thing. What Eloisa does do for promotion is every Monday she goes into our system and scours all of the songs and all of the shows that have been uploaded, puts them into a database and a newsletter, and sends that newsletter to our mailing list, which has the 126 radio stations on it. And that will give those radio stations information about what new music and what syndicated shows are available on the system to be able to access. So that's the way in which we've automated the awareness process and system of Earshot Digital to our members. As we sort of mentioned, if you are an artist, what they do is they'll upload the system. They'll then use the outreach option. You'll hopefully have filled out a form for us that says what type of content you're looking for, how it gets sent to you. And then the artist will have access to that information and then reach out to you there, usually with a link that says Earshot distro, and then you just click the link, and as long as you're logged in, it'll take you right to their song or their show. We do not send your information out to the radio station or to the artists because of those privacy rules. The workaround that we've come up with is to make sure that you sign up for that outreach form so that you can get contacted. The form will probably end up getting you somewhere around 25 to 50 hits on a weekly basis from artists saying, hey, I've got new music for you. Some of the time that music will be completely irrelevant to the genre you're looking for. Most of the time, we've asked them to make sure that they're sending content of what you're looking for. So if you run a classical show and you get a death metal song, there's not too much we can do about that, but you're hopefully going to also get notification from artists that you've got new classical songs on that process. And right now, again, using that search filter option and the save searches, that's usually your easiest way to jump in once a week or so and then find it as well. So
Someone did mention, how would I find a show whose topic is agriculture?
sure.
That seems very specific. We don't have like a genre that would specifically say that, or a mood that would describe that, but you could filter out by maybe just choosing the spoken word section of it, and then that will definitely narrow down your options. And you
Yeah.
can go through the description of the show or just the overall bio of the host, and that will give you definitely a better idea. And also just glancing at the images of what the shows look like their picture, that will give you an idea of what they're talking about most of the time.
I would see that fitting into either spoken word. There's also a genre that's listed as environmental. On there, there's an educational option as well. And like we said, you can simply select all shows and do a search, and it will show up on the side of the programming, what the theme of the genre of the show is. Or you can search by subgenres by simply checking them off or not checking off the ones you're not interested in, and it will show up there as well. How do we search for intergenerational? At least it would be very similar into that process. You're probably going to find it in one of those subgenres, whether that's spoken word, whether that's there's one under art, there's one under societal and technology, social and culture. It really depends on where and how whoever uploads it identifies their song within the database. And if there are genres or subgenres for radio show or for music that you see that we're missing, we do have the ability to update and put them into the system. It just happens on sort of a case-by-case basis.
And RB did ask if there's in development how to make the shows easier to find, like ordering by date. And we recently rolled out an update that will hopefully solve that problem. Now all uploads should be going to the top for shows. If their latest upload should be at the top whenever you open their release folder. But if you still are seeing issues with that, or if maybe a programmer's not uploading it correctly, which is why it's probably not filtering to the top, you can let us know. Definitely you could get in touch with the programmers, check that, or get in touch with the individual programmer and just let them know if there's something on their end of things that they can fix.
So as Aloisa mentioned, there is constant updates to the system. It is an active program that we're working on. For those paying attention right now, our next project that has started includes an update to our base code to make sure that it's functional, it's smooth, and ready for further development. And then what we're actually in the process of launching is called a shared libraries service. So what it will mean is, first, you're going to be able to, as a radio station, put your information into the system and search across both physical and digital libraries in one space. So if you are searching for, Brian Adams, it will show all the songs that are in our database. And it will also list all of the songs that are in your station's physical or digital database and where they're located. So it might say that Bryan Adams is on shelf 7 of column D or wherever it is, and then you can manually go off and find that. The stage after that is actual integration of a digital library into the system itself. So if I were to search for Bryan Adams, I would find it in Earshot Distro's main library. I would also find it and be able to access it through the station's private library, which is kind of neat. So then your searchable function and holding is all in one space, and you can find across both areas. When we get further down the road, what we're actually planning on doing, and we've gotten confirmation that we're allowed to do this, is we're allowed to integrate the radio station's private library into our main library database. So our song list right now is sitting at about 28,000 songs. If your radio station happens to have 50,000 digital songs yourself, and we've got 20 some or 100 some radio stations, there's 2 million potential songs available at your fingertips to access. And our hope is that we'll be working with Library and Archives Canada and essentially making this the database for every single Canadian content song that's ever been available to our sector. And it's going to be taking everybody's documentation and putting it all together into one search space. So that's the long-term 3-year plan of action. We've got that approved. We've got the financing behind it, and we're moving forward with those steps. There's a chance that that might speed up very quickly as we go forward if we get some extra grants. But for now, that's sort of the timeline that we're working on. And there's a bunch of other fun features, interaction, interoperability, and connections to some other things that are underway as well. So hopefully that shares a little bit of something that's fun and unique that we're working on over the next little bit.
Someone did ask, do we have to pay for something? No, the system is free for all the radio stations that are part of our membership. If you have broadcasters, like Barry mentioned, that you want to give access to your account, you can do so. It is free of access. The musicians do have to pay to upload this to the system. It is $7 a song and $50 an album. And that just, it's brought back to the system to create more updates and just overall maintain the system for them. So it is not free for musicians, but it is free for stations to access it.
And the reason we chose that process was because artists and record labels were sending out, 100 CDs. 100 CDs to 100 radio stations at $5 a CD is a lot of money, as opposed to $50 to go digital, to go to hopefully all those stations and hopefully all their programmers all at once. And this is a service of the NCRA for our sector. We're not here to try to generate revenue off of the artists. We're trying to make sure the artists can get their music into the hands of the programmers and the stations have access to great Canadian content. That's why we focus this specifically on Canadian artists, whether they're identify as CanCon compliant or Maple compliant or not. Our system is essentially limited to those who have some sort of Canadian connection. And you'll note that on that search functionality, anything that is CanCon has a little Canadian flag beside it, and you can filter by that requirement as well. Lisa, I believe you had a question yourself. If you want to unmute, you're welcome to do so.
I'll translate my question in French and in English. Okay, I'll be. Est-ce que Barry, do you understand French?
I do not. I think.
Okay, so ma question, I will translate it. Ma question, c'est à savoir le pourcentage de chansons et d'émissions francophones par rapport à anglophones que vous avez dans votre banque de données. So my question is to find out what's the percentage of English to French, either songs or programming. Have you been able to reach out to the community radios in Quebec? Is also my question. Ma question, c'est de savoir, est-ce qu'il a été capable de rejoindre, avez-vous été capable de rejoindre les radios communautaires au Québec?
So first of all, the website and the service itself is fully bilingual. There is the opportunity to convert the text content to French, and it's already been arranged and done as part of that process. So that's very helpful. The second thing is that the system is available for all campus and community not-for-profit radio stations in the country. So we do have agreements with Arctic Canada, who are the French language stations outside of Quebec. And there's about 28 of those across the country, and Arctic Quebec, which is the French language stations in Quebec. There are 35 of those. We have a few stations that have accounts, not many. They typically have their own music distribution system, which is not nearly as discoverable as what we have, and is sort of a little bit more hodgepodge type thing. So they often are sort of finding content and then sharing it amongst each other through their organizations, through, just, options for music and Dropbox and all those types of things. So there's not the functionality and the upload process that's in place. Unfortunately, they haven't really picked up much of that content. So I would say the French language content level is decently low. One of the functionalities that we do have in the process here, and I'm just going to quickly share my screen once again, is under the search function, we do have these ones called artist characteristics, and we do have one called FrancoCon. So if I wanted to, I could select the FrancoCon search functionality option and see how many songs are identified by, or shows that are identified by people who have uploaded, who consider themselves Franco-Canadians, and there is 750 songs. So there's an easy way to be able to figure that sort of out. And again, just because I can, let's say they were made by women and they are songs that are in alternative, blues, folk, and country music. And now I can do a search by them, and it's going to filter on top, on top, on top. And we've got other versions as well. So this will show you all FrancoCon and all FemCon and all of those different genres, right? So just gives you, if I drop out the FemCon, it'll then go back to just FrancoCon plus any of the other genres that we showed. So it gives you a sense to be able to search, dig deeper into finding content of that nature. Was there any other questions, Eloisa?
Someone had a question in the chat, but I replied, but I'll say it so everyone can hear. To actually get access to the programmer, do I need to fill up a sign up form on the site, or do I get access to my station manager? You can get access to your station manager. They can easily add you in. But if you reach out to your station manager and they happen to not have an account with Earshot, we can definitely contact them directly and create an account and then add you as a programmer as well. But you should be able to just contact your station manager and they can add you in.
Here, very quickly, just for your reference, if you click on your account information about who you are, it shows your name of your account, your email, your password, and then what access you have. Artists can contact me. And if, again, click out, you would fill out that form to allow us to share that information. If you are, I didn't change the password, that's fine. If you have an organizational account, it will allow you as a radio station to add users. And we can see here, anybody that's listed as a programmer or volunteer doesn't have the ability to add users because they're a regular user. If you're an administrator, then you have the ability to add users in this case. So these are a whole bunch of people that are under the NCRA's account. Your radio station will have a similar thing, and we let those stations manage who's volunteers, programmers, or not, because that's not the work that the NCRA does. But if your station doesn't have that information, then we do have the ability to create an account on behalf of your station or give you access to an account if your station already has one, so that you can do that research and work. Does anybody else have any other questions, comments? Happy to try to answer anything here before we let you go. All right. Well, not hearing anything. Thanks so much for joining us here. Eloisa, I'll let you wrap things up. How's that?
Yeah, sure. You guys have heard Barry talking up. Let me finish though. Thank you everyone for joining us. Hopefully, you guys learn more about the system, how to use it, how to search, and how to upload shows. Again, this was recorded, so if you have questions, where can we find the meeting recording? For this, it will be on the Earshot Distro website, and I can also, if you can't find it somehow, you can email me and I can directly send it to you. But it will be under Earshot Distro, earshot-distro.ca on the tutorials. On there, the broadcaster side, we did a training session earlier today for the music side as well. So if you are wondering how artists upload their music, you can also watch that. I mean, you can learn how to do it as well. Or if you have an artist, or you are an artist yourself, or you know an artist, you can also find out how to do that over there. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us, and hopefully that's answered your questions. And hopefully you try out the system. But if you have any questions, you can email Barry or me, and we'll be happy to help out. Thank you.
Thank you.